Hi everybody, I'm Brent Stafford and welcome to another edition of Reg Watch on GFN-TV. We're here in Warsaw, Poland at the Global Forum on Nicotine, which is an annual conference dedicated to safer nicotine products and tobacco harm reduction. And it's celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. And we're sitting here with a filmmaker, Emmanuel Mwape.
Sure, thank you very much, Bedford. Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. So you produced both a feature film and a short film and a documentary around tobacco harm reduction. Walk us through that.
So basically I go through in the program called Tobacco Harm Reduction. Of course, at the beginning of the program, I never actually had the full information of what actually tobacco harm reduction is. Not until I got through the program where I was able to meet various people who were able to pass us through the process of, to teach us more about tobacco harm reduction. Then I realized that, of course, we have been practicing harm reduction in many ways. Harm reduction, the use of traffic lights, condoms, and many other things. So that's how I got to learn about tobacco harm reduction. Then I was like, I think this is interesting, coming from a background where my father died because of the use of cigarettes. He was a cigarette smoker. Then I thought to say, he struggled at some point to stop smoking. He really struggled to stop smoking. Then after I came through, I saw this program, I thought, it is interesting. I think if we had known of maybe a tobacco harm reduction, I think it would have helped in some way. So I think that's how I got motivated to get into the program. Then I created a film. Basically, it's a film telling a story about a woman who has created a cooperative center that sells safer nicotine products, but must face other people who are running cigarette business in the community. So basically, in this short film and the feature film, I was trying to tell a story on tobacco harm reduction, but using simpler terms and simpler methods that anyone can understand about tobacco harm reduction. Basically, from the nation where I'm coming from, tobacco harm reduction is something that is new. Of course, now there are many rights to it. Of course, barriers to tobacco harm reduction. I think basically that's it about the project and tobacco harm reduction in general. I think for Zambia, tobacco harm reduction, it's a new subject. A few people know about it, and of course there are some regulations that of course we don't have proper regulations in regards to tobacco in general. I think they're trying to put up a tobacco enactment bill of some sort.
Where are you from?
Zambia.
Zambia. So is smoking a real problem there?
Yes, of course it is a problem. I think Zambia is one of the biggest producers of tobacco in the world, like farming. Yeah, we do a lot of farming of tobacco. Yeah. And
so, everybody that you know, your friends, the parents, your aunts and uncles, there's a lot of smoking.
Usually there's a lot of smoking, yeah.
So when you said the program, is that the KAC scholarship program you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
Tell us about that.
So the KAC Tobacco Harm Reduction Scholarship is there to help researchers, media personnel to be trained in the field of tobacco harm reduction, to basically do a project in your own country about tobacco harm reduction. Then after doing that project, it's more of a research and advocacy program. So for research purposes, you gather information, you bring it together, and for advocacy, you try to spread information on tobacco harm reduction. Basically, that's what the KSC, it's called the Tobacco Harm Reduction Scholarship Program.
How did you find out about it?
I found about it through a friend from Malawi who shared information with me to say, oh, I think this might be of your interest to you, because you usually make films about, because I've created a number of films about mental health and also substance abuse. So yeah, that's how I got to know about tobacco harm reduction.
The number of tobacco-related deaths in Zambia increased from an estimated 3,000 per year in 1990 to 7,142 per year in 2020. You are listening to Radio Healthcare on 102 FM. Stay tuned for more informative programs.
I'm just a statesman, trying to gather some information here. What's this war?
This is not a war.
What pipe?
The one tobacco now becomes the one nicotine.
She caused it all. It's evident in your eyes on how stupid and dull you are.
Equally you. Busybody with dark painted lips smoking what they're calling a deadly cigar.
But let me educate you. It's very difficult for smokers to quit smoking. Smokers smoke for nicotine. It's the tar that kills them.
E-cigarette.
Part of this then is fiction, and then the other part is nonfiction. Explain that.
So basically what I've been doing is, so the whole project, like, it's a fiction, but when I'm doing screenings, I usually try to document the moments if I'm showing people. So that's a separate thing. So basically the project on its own, it's fiction, but in as much as it is fiction, I'm trying to raise awareness on tobacco harm reduction. So yeah, so basically it's fiction, but an educational film.
So you're adding layers on top of layers of the media.
Yes, yes.
That's excellent. So what's the biggest thing that you think you learned that was a surprise from making this film?
I think what I've learned through making the film is that a number of people have accepted that it's hard to quit smoking, and hence some of the people that have seen the film, they have accepted to say, I think tobacco harm reduction is something that we can easily adopt, because looking at the majority of people that are smokers, most of the people are not willing to quit smoking. Of course, we have a number that are willing to stop smoking, but like what happened to my father, quitting smoking just there and then might be too complicated for others. For others, might be something that's simple they can easily get away with. But in the process of making the film, I realized through making the film and also just the mentors, I realized to say that I think tobacco harm reduction is something that we should embrace, that we should critically look into. Of course, with many barriers, like from the country I'm coming from, like we have a few people that do research. So I realized to say that there's need of research, more especially in developing countries, to do a lot of research in regards to tobacco harm reduction, because most of the information that we get is information that has usually been done by people from developed countries. Then we get the information, then we begin to work on that information that we receive. I think there's also a need of us developing countries to invest more into research, to know about these things. Yeah.
Is vaping handled in the film?
Yeah, of course there are. So basically it's not just about vaping. So in this film I'm looking at different things. I'm looking at nicotine replacement therapy, of course snus, and vaping. So these are some of the things that are in the production. So we have not only just given, we're not just giving the people that are watching the film to say, or vaping, or just say snus, or just say nicotine replacement therapy. So actually we're trying to give people about maybe 4 options. One of them is counseling. Of course, can you manage to quit smoking through counseling? If somebody is able to do that, then we say, okay, it's fine, because the goal at the end of the day is to help people quit smoking, to create a smoke-free world. So yeah, so there are a variety of options for them through watching the film.
Is there controversy over safer nicotine products where you're from?
Of course, there's a lot of controversy in regards to safer nicotine products. Of course, there are a lot of myths and propaganda in regards to safer nicotine products. Like what I can say is that I think there's a lot of controversy in the sense that, one, people do not know more about safer nicotine products, and the other thing is the channel of information, the information that we receive. So I think there's a lot of controversy surrounding safer nicotine products. Of course, even just in the reflection of the bill that is currently trying to be enacted. Yeah.
Where do you think that controversy, where that misinformation comes from?
I think the misinformation, I think, is coming from, what I can say, it's coming from, because us developing countries, we are on the lower end of the food chain. So I would say the controversy is coming from the first end of the food chain, like from developed countries. Of course, that's where the more information is coming from. I think people from developing countries usually rely on information that is given to them by authorities, in short. So that's where people usually get more credible information from, rather than from a second-hand, a third person. Yeah, basically that's it.
Do you think that the authorities in your country are not giving the best information to its people?
I don't think most relies on authorities. I think it's something that must deal with researchers, of course, like what I mentioned, to say there is need for people to do research, of course, because most of the research that we receive, whether in HIV fields, in other fields, most of the research, most of it, we usually get it from developed countries. But if we add a lot of people, individuals that invest time into research on various subjects, maybe for example the subject that we are talking about, tobacco harm reduction, we would have a lot of people that are getting first-hand information from their own, rather than getting information from a third individual.
Yeah. Does that work in the same manner when it comes to, say, the media, that the messaging is all coming from the first world media?
Yes, basically even in the media, I think the information basically is coming from the third world, from the developed countries. That's most of the information that we get, more especially when we are dealing with delicate global issues. Most global issues, people usually try to emulate what other countries are doing, what organizations are saying. That's the information that they pick up and put up into practice. I think we have a few. I think I might not say that we don't have people who are doing various research. I think we have a few individuals that are doing research in various related health issues. And for tobacco harm reduction, I think I'm yet to meet individuals like from a country that are doing research on tobacco harm reduction. It's like everyone is on the some side of the coin. Yeah.
Your social network around you, back home, right? People that aren't involved, say, in the documentary and that kind of stuff. How have they reacted to the tobacco harm reduction message?
Of course, there are positive reactions and negative reactions, in the sense that because most of the people, the majority, they have already received information from trusted bodies. Let me put it in that way. There's what I would call in as trusted bodies and science bodies. So these trusted bodies have collaborated with science bodies, so they are communicating one information. So in terms of how they have received the information, of course, there's positive feedback. There's both positive and negative feedback because of the myths and propaganda that have been created around safer nicotine products. And of course, there is a number of people that have given positive feedback to say, I think actually this is something that we should critically look into. Like during my research and also interacting with people, one thing that I've come to know is that some of the barriers that are hindering tobacco harm reduction, it's one, religion, because Zambians are believers, we are religion, and also the other thing that is hindering tobacco harm reduction is culture. It's culture. So I think there is need for people to invest more in research in regards to products that would relate well with our culture. For example, I would say maybe snus would relate more to our culture, because we have a lot of people that usually use oral tobacco, like they're using a lot of tobacco to sniff and other things. So I think there's need for research and investment in safer nicotine products that would relate properly with our culture. I think once that, if that bridge is gapped, I think it's something that would be well welcomed, and it's something that people might accept because it relates somehow with their culture.
The audience for Saving CHALO and for helping CHALO, is that just regular people, or you've been trying to reach government?
For example, it's hard to get maybe government bodies to see these products, but of course, what I've been trying to do is when having a screening is to write to individuals that are working maybe in the healthy industry, like to get them to see the film. Of course, even various maybe media celebrities to just see the film and give feedback after the film. So, like for example, what we do before each screening is that we prepare an entry survey. Maybe I lay a number of questions to say, okay, what do you know about nicotine? I give them A, others it's bad, it's addictive. You get that? What do you know about e-cigarettes? Then I give them information. Then what has been happening is that before seeing the film, when I share an entry survey with someone, maybe they would score maybe 1 out of 10, for example, 1 out of 10. But after the film, we find out to say that we have scored maybe 10 out of 10, 9 out of 9, which actually means that the information is being passed on effectively, and people are kind of accepting what tobacco harm reduction is, and for them, I think it's something that they have embraced so well that they are ready to accept. Of course, the biggest barrier is the bodies that are surrounding. Yeah.
Some topics are easy to make a film on, right? You know, if you're doing cops and robbers and car chases, or or you're doing something on the drug war or whatever. But THR, isn't it boring?
No, it's not boring. So the beauty about storytelling is that every one of us, we love stories. We love to watch. We love to see things. So I think telling a story about THR, I think it has been easy for me because we went through a process of learning what actually THR is. Then I realized we have been practicing. We practice THR, we practice harm reduction in so many ways. So even just sharing a philosophy of robots with people, just from the philosophy of robots and seat belts with people, to say actually it's impossible to stop accidents on the road. What if somebody thought of introducing seat belts to limit the number of accidents on the road? So just that simple philosophy, just adding it to the film, somebody is able to easily understand what THR is. But when I say tobacco harm reduction, a lot of people at the mention of tobacco harm reduction, they easily accept it. But when you begin to go in depth to tell them what tobacco harm reduction is, that's where now we receive negative and positive feedback, because some of the people, when they say tobacco harm reduction, they usually think it's eradicating the use of tobacco. But I think it's something that we should critically look into, more especially for us developing countries. Of course, what we need is its regulations. Like what we have, maybe in our country, we have maybe a number of mushrooming stores selling e-cigarettes and other tobacco products. So these mushrooming small businesses are a problem. They are a problem in the sense that we do not have regulations. If anything bad was to happen, if somebody is using maybe an electronic cigarette, they would come up and say, okay, these things are causing this, because the problem that we have is regulation. If the authorities that big can look into critical regulations that would help safer nicotine products, I think it's something that can be possibly be accepted by the majority. Because what we have, if we don't have the regulations, then we're going to have the problem even with raising the message about tobacco harm reduction.
Isn't it a catch-22 though? Because the organizations that really push for regulations in LMICs are generally pushing abstinence and bans.
Yes.
Right? Is that an issue, do you think?
Of course, it's an issue. I don't think bans would work. I think we have like from the nation where I'm coming from, it's illegal to smoke marijuana, for example. It's illegal to smoke marijuana, but a number of people still smoke marijuana. So I would, in relation to tobacco harm reduction, if we would, for example, ban tobacco, I don't think it would work. Prohibition wouldn't work. So it's high time that the authorities that be reflect on safer nicotine products, because they would help people to quit smoking, and they would also help lives, like people to use these products for a longer period of time without attracting various diseases that have been caused by the smoking of tobacco. So like we have a lot of diseases that are related to tobacco diseases, mostly from smoking and sniff. Like they usually do a lot of sniff from the country where I'm coming from. But if regulations were there to help these safer nicotine products, I think it's something that would help us and help us become a smoke-free nation.
So you mentioned the authorities that be. One of those authorities is the global authority,
yes,
the World Health Organization. Now, that coming up later this year is what's called COP10.
COP10,
yeah, the Conference of the Parties. And it doesn't look like it's going to go so well for safer nicotine products, potentially. If you had an opportunity to send a message to the delegates at COP10, what would that message be?
My question would be, would you accept evil for something that's less evil? Maybe that would be the question for me. And are you able to eradicate this? Are you able to eradicate this evil completely? If you are unable to eradicate it, then it's high time for you to reflect on getting something that is more safer for people to use than allowing something that is not safe for people to consume. I think that would be the best message. I think the best message is for people to critically look at these things and to be more realistic with the approach on tobacco. Because for example, if we say ban tobacco, so for example in Zambia we have a lot of people that are farming tobacco. So one of the things that they can critically look into, not saying okay, ban tobacco or stop tobacco farming. Of course it would be hard for people to stop. One of the things they can critically look into is one of the things that the smoke-free world is doing, where they're empowering farmers to shift from use of tobacco. For example, if I'm using 10 hectares of land to plant tobacco, they can slowly start shifting to alternative crops. Like for example, say, okay, instead of 10 hectares of land of tobacco, can we use 30% to plant maize for this year, so that slowly we get to a world that will be smoke-free.
The Global Forum on Nicotine, this event, what do you think of it, and is it important?
The Global Forum on Nicotine, it's an important event in the sense that we have people at the event that create these products, that people create these products, and these are people that have been studying the products that they are creating. Of course, what is there, my observation is that the science is already there. I think what's just stopping everything is the regulation. The science is already there. I think even the authorities that they need to attend these events. The more they attend, if they begin to attend these events, they will begin to have a bigger understanding of what tobacco harm reduction is, and they'll begin to understand more on nicotine, for example, I say.
So what's next for you in terms of your next film?
So what's next for me in terms of the next film? I'll be doing a film where I'm trying to approach relevant authorities to learn on tobacco harm reduction. So that's what I'll be documenting. So I will be visiting a number of people to access the information. What do they know about tobacco harm reduction? Is it something that they would accept? Is it something that they would reject? Of course, because I'm trying to tell a story, but of course I'm trying to spread the message on awareness. So I think that's what I'll be working on, and I'm lucky to get into, and I'll be studying audiovisual production through KSC.